Hey guys, Omaha here. Welcome to my ultimate god on Namor, one of the most slept on characters in the entire game. This guy outputs massive amounts of damage, and I think he's the best anti-diver character in the entire game. I'm going to go over every single ability, breaking down the damage values and the HP and all that stuff, including his Monstro summons, which have a ton of hidden things that people do not know about. If you think Namor sucks, watch this entire video and I guarantee you're going to change your mind. So first we'll get this out of the way. He does have a melee attack just like everybody else. It's very basic. It's 30 damage flat no matter where you hit them. And there's no special effect like a knock-up like some characters have. Just 30 damage, that's it. Secondly, he does have a descend ability, which is very self-explanatory. You hold your jump button to fall slowly, and this can be really useful to get away from people and to get to places you normally wouldn't be able to get to. It's really good combined with Blessing of the Deep, so you can fly up really high and then maybe glide to like a ledge or wherever you want to go. Next, let's talk about his primary fire, Trident of Neptune. So this does 70 damage to the body, which is a 4-shot kill to characters like Spider-Man who have 250 HP, or even Namor who has 275. And it does 140 damage to the head because criticals in this game are double damage, so that's a 2-hit kill to the head. And this also has infinite range. So there is no damage drop off whatsoever. I could throw a spear from New York to Wakanda and it'll still hit 70 to that body and 140 to the head. The one thing you got to keep in mind is this is a projectile with drop. So it does have a little bit of drop to it. You got to aim a little bit high for the headshots. And the only characters in the game off the top of my head that do have drop with their projectile is Namor, Squirrel Girl, and Hawkeye. There might be somebody I'm missing, but off the top of my head, those are the only three. Everybody else that has a projectile, like Winter Soldier, they shoot perfectly straight, or they are hit scan, which if you don't know what hit scan means, it means wherever your reticle is, there's no travel time for the actual projectile. It just instantly hits wherever you're aiming. So yeah, you just got to keep that in mind when you're playing him. Just, you got to lead your shots a little bit, or you got to aim high. Now with Namor's primary fire, you really want to be going for headshots for two reasons. Number one, it's obviously going to do double damage like most other characters. But number two is when you have your Monstro spawn out, they get an enhanced attack every time you hit a headshot that lasts 2 seconds. So they deal significantly more damage. And as long as you have these out, and as long as you're hitting headshots, they're going to keep activating their enhanced fire rate. So I hit another headshot, they keep going, another one, they'll just keep going. And then one final thing for his primary fire is your Monstro spawn cooldown actually gets reduced by 1 second for every single hit with your Trident. So you want to keep hitting people so you can keep your turrets going as often as possible. You can always have them up. Next up, we have his Blessing of the Deep ability, which shoots you up 7 meters and then gives you 3 seconds to go wherever you want to go. That's about as high as you're going to be able to go with it. But during that time, you're actually completely invincible to everything, all damage and all ults. And actually, while you're in that, you can be healed by other healers on your team. So it is extremely useful and sneaky for getting out of crazy situations. And the cooldown on that's going to be about 15 seconds. So yeah, it's a long cooldown. You want to use it kind of sparingly in a fight, but it's really nice for just getting up to high vantage points. So here's an example everybody hates, Jeff's ult. I can completely escape that. Even if I shoot a maximum pulse at myself, still can't hit me or do anything to me at all. Next up, we have Namor's Aquatic Dominion ability, which lets you summon Monstro spawn to automatically attack enemies. And you can summon 2 at a time. Later on, we get a Luna Snow team ability that gives us a 3rd one, but you can still only have 2 at a time. If you throw one out, it replaces one of them with the new one. They last for 8 seconds total. There's no way to increase that. And they go on cooldown for 12 seconds. Unless you hit spear throws, like we said earlier, that reduces the cooldown by 1 second for each hit. So they have a maximum range of 40 meters, which is where Spider-Man is out there. If I move him back, see, he's not getting shot, and move him back up the range, he's getting shot. And then they do have 100 HP, which is actually decent enough to where you could kind of use them as pseudo cover, kind of as a last resort thing. I haven't really messed around with that too much. But yeah, it's going to tank 100 HP unless you get headshot. So you can actually throw these on any surface. You can throw them on the sides of walls, ceilings, literally any surface you can throw them on. I highly recommend throwing them as high as possible and behind the enemy if possible, just because it's going to, if they're within line of sight, the enemy is going to instantly just destroy it. But if it's like behind them, they come into a room, they're going to have to be like, oh, where is it? And try to kill it really quick. Meanwhile, you're shooting them in the back. So these Monstro spawn are going to shoot 2 rounds per second at 17 damage per hit within 20 meters. So that is 34 damage per second if you're within 20 meters. Just think of it that way. It's simpler. After 20 meters, it's going to drop off out to 40 meters. And at 40 meters, it's going to be 30% damage, or 5.1 damage per hit, or 10.2 damage per second. But just think of it as like a third of the damage. Now, if you do the math, You have 2 of these out. That's 68 damage per second. Spider-Man is 250 HP. He's going to last 4 seconds if you don't do anything on your own, or if your healers don't do anything. The turrets on their own will kill him in 4 seconds. Now, you don't really need to worry about the damage ranges, and because the turrets are going to automatically attack the target closest to them. So if we spawn more targets here, they're always just going to attack the closest target to them. Or they're going to continue attacking the target they initially were attacking. So if I throw another one, it's not going to attack Spider-Man because he's not the closest initially. Whatever target they're currently attacking, they will finish that target until it dies, and then they'll move on to the next one. Okay, and this is going to change a little bit with the enhanced attacks that we talked about earlier. So when you get a headshot on an enemy, it is going to have them attack that enemy in a faster fire rate. And this faster fire rate lasts for 2 seconds. It's going to more than double their fire rate. They're actually going to fire 5 rounds per second instead of 2. And it's going to deal 11 damage per hit for 110 damage total per Monstro summon. So that's 55 DPS if you want it in DPS. Once they kill that target, they're going to move on to the next closest target. That's how it works. And then the damage values with the damage drop-off is still the same. I'm not going to go over it again because it's going to get complicated, but it's still 30%, so they're dealing 30% damage at 40 meters. Now, keep in mind with this, if you hit him with a headshot, that's 140 damage. They're going to kill him that fast. It's like 2 seconds for Spider-Man to die. And that's not even factoring in that they're going to be shooting him before he even gets this close. Now you can kind of see why Spider-Man and Iron Fist and them are kind of a joke when you're playing against a good Namor. And this isn't even the crazy stuff yet. We're going to get to that. Okay, next we're going to go over his Wrath of the Seven Seas ability, which is your right click. So you throw this trident and it is going to direct all of your Monstro spawn to do an enhanced attack on the nearest enemy hit. It's going to destroy them. This is where you're going to do nuclear damage to divers, or anybody really. So there is no crit ability with this. It's always, even if you hit the head, it's always going to do the same damage. And the damage value for this is it's going to deal 40 damage just from the direct hit itself. And then it has an AoE that does 60 damage within 3 meters. At 3 meters, it's going to actually drop down to half damage, but you can hit them all the way out here with this, and it does have a cooldown of 6 seconds, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that's actually not that bad. So if you have your Monstro spawn out here and you hit just the splash damage, it's still going to hit them with the direct hit, or the enhanced attack. So you're getting a total of 100 damage just from hitting them directly, and then you have the Monstro turrets attack them. The Monstro enhanced attack that they shoot out does 60 damage regardless of range, and you can actually hit them with that enhanced attack past 40 meters, but the rest of its attacks will not trigger. So if I go out past 40 meters here and I hit him with this, they will still hit him for 60 damage, but then they won't follow up. So if I have both my turrets out and I hit splash damage, it hits both of them. They go into their berserk state, and they still do faster damage afterwards. So just an example of how fast you can kill Spider-Man here. Your right click does 100, both of these shooting him does another 120, and then he has 30 HP left, and they're still gonna use their faster fire rate. So he literally does not last at all, like 2 seconds. It's crazy. Okay, let's talk about his ult, Horn of Proteus, before we get to his ice turret, because that does have different stats than the other ones. So you summon Giganto to leap upon enemies, disabling their movement abilities. It has 2 rings here. The inner circle does 500 damage. That'll kill everybody that isn't a tank. And the outer circle does 200 damage. So that's not going to kill anybody unless they're already, lit. So we'll use it here on Spider-Man. It's 200 damage right there. And they're stunned for like 1.5 seconds. So you can kind of follow up on it pretty quickly. And then here is the center circle. That's going to insta-kill him. I just call this ability Shamu, by the way, because it's way easier to remember. And then the range on this ability is going to be 30 meters, so that's as far as you're going to be able to go right there. So here's what that's going to look like from your perspective if you're getting hit by it. You'll see his abilities at the bottom right. They're going to not be usable at all. See, they're grayed out. Can't use them at all. And then you can as soon as you're done getting wrecked by Shamu. Okay, next I want to talk about his team ability with Luna Snow. This is going to make Namor so much stronger. It's crazy. So you get a frozen spawn, which is significantly better in almost every way than the Monstro spawn. For starters, it lasts 2 seconds longer, so 10 seconds. It's got double the HP at 200 HP. Same range at 40 meters. It also applies a slow effect of 25% every time it hits for 1 second. So you can see him moving, and then you see he slows down quite a bit. As long as he's getting hit, it's going to keep him moving 25% slower. This does have a longer cooldown at 20 seconds, and you can't make it faster like the other one when you get Trident hits, which is a little unfortunate, but that would be really broken. Another nice thing about it is you can always have 2 turrets up all the time just because you have a 3rd cooldown going. And then finally, this does more damage than the regular Monstro spawn. It does 25 damage per hit instead of 17 damage per hit. So it's actually coming out to 50 DPS instead of 34 DPS. And then as far as the range damage, it's going to be the same drop off. At 40 meters, it's going to be 30% or a third. Its enhanced attack rate is going to do 16 damage per hit instead of 11. So that's going to be 80 DPS instead of 55 DPS. And then its enhanced attack, where it shoots the big attack, that's going to still do 60 damage. It's going to be the same as the regular Monstro. So there, that's 60 damage, and then it goes in its berserk state just like the other one. Okay, just to give you guys kind of a visual representation of why you shouldn't sleep on Namor because of how much damage he can output so quickly, here is like theoretically like what could happen to you. 800 damage gone in literally seconds. It's disgusting. He's a freak. So yeah, he's really OP. So as a general rule for placing these, like I said earlier, high and behind are the keys. So if I know they're going to come through this door, 100% I am throwing them right there in those 2 spots. You don't always want to clump them up either because Squirrel Girl is going to have a heyday. She's got splash damage. Iron Man is going to have a great time because he's going to take those out quickly. Okay, as for team ups, really besides Luna Snow, it's kind of just whoever. He kind of fits in with everybody as long as you don't have too many duelists, obviously. You know, I know that can be a problem in ranked. You just do your thing, protect your healers, play defensively. You can play a little bit aggressively here and there, throwing out both of your Monstros and then using a right click. You could probably delete someone really fast. But most you want to be playing defensively. In terms of counters for Namor, your biggest counters are going to be Hela and Hawkeye because they are going to be taking out your turrets. Punisher as well, taking out your turrets. Probably Moon Knight, Iron Man if he's staying far back, taking them out. Really ranged characters that are going to be doing a good job at taking out your turrets are going to be your biggest threats. But other than that, it's free real estate. I mean, mainly it's going to be Hela and Hawkeye. Everybody else you can deal with a little bit better. But yeah, without these 2, if they're banned in comp, you can kind of have free reign to do whatever you want. In terms of countering Namor himself, really you just want to be taking out his Monstro spawn over and over. That is where he's going to get a lot of utility from. Without them, he's kind of just a half damage Hawkeye, realistically. So hopefully this guide was really helpful for you guys. I know it was kind of complicated with all the damage numbers. That's just how the Monstro spawns kind of are. But I wanted to show you guys the actual numbers because there's no way to find that in-game anywhere. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.